The fact is that the county executive through issue 6 has been given far too much power. The power to hire with council approval, but to fire unilaterally the only two people who might investigate him or her, the sheriff and the chief fiscal officer. As a matter of fact, if you look at the Summit County charter, they elect both the sheriff and the fiscal officer. And why? So that they'll have the ability and the comfort level to exercise their independent judgment, their independent investigatory competencies and abilities and rights and authorities without fearing that they're going to be fired. One final thing, and I could go on and on, but I only have a minute left. Issue 6 was to streamline government, but it takes us from 11 elected officials to 13 elected officials, plus 7 appointed officials to replace some of the elected officials who were positions being abolished, plus a law director. So we're going from 11 to 21, and I think any of us who are familiar with government recognize that appointed officials tend to make more, your department heads, your cabinet officials make more than the elected officials who appoint them. So this is taking us in the exact opposite direction of what we were told that it was going to do. It doesn't streamline county government. So the process that yielded issue 6 was certainly not the best of process. Issue 5 is superior in that respect, but more importantly, there are substantive, compelling flaws in issue 6 in that charter that can only be addressed one way, by approving issue 5 and letting a group of very thoughtful citizens craft it. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Jones, thank you very much. Now, in favor of issue 6, Parma Heights Mayor Martin Zanotti.
Thank you all for being here. Commissioner, for the first 3 minutes, I almost was getting ready to get a yard sign out of my trunk and give it to you. I thought you changed and come over to issue 6's side. You know, as we speak today throughout our county, over 100,000 people have already seized upon the opportunity to vote and to reshape the future of our region. And we're hoping many of them are voting, and most of them are voting for issue 6. One thing we know by the voter interest and by what we've been told by the voters is that people are demanding that we reform our government. And quite frankly, they're telling us that we need to reform it now. Make no mistake about it, issue 6 is about our future. Here's what we know. Cuyahoga County is in fierce competition. We're facing global competition like we've never faced before. We're losing businesses on an annual basis, and on an annual basis, over 10,000 residents are leaving our county. Our county government today has no long-term economic plan because it's not its mission. And the vital services, the social services that are so important to the people in need, are in jeopardy because of the economy that we live in. Now, the conditions that I've just said to express to each of you and to the Commissioner, I'm sure Commissioner would agree, those are challenges that we face. So we know the issues, and I would offer to you today that we know how to fix them. Issue 6 is the only truly reform measure on the ballot this November that will offer concrete plans to meet our challenges head-on and offer us hope for the future. Now, to truly measure the significance of issue 6, we've got to kind of walk through how we got here. And we're starting by saying before we can be successful in reforming county government, we must change its principles. So what we've done is we've developed a set of objectives that will enable us to create a meaningful and sustainable county government. Those 6 objectives, again, are job creation and economic growth, effective and accountable leadership, providing for a competitive county in the global environment that we operate in, improved focus on equity for all, collaborative leadership between the public and private sector, and significant taxpayer savings through the eliminated of unnecessary elected offices and streamlining those offices that are littered with patronage in the government today. So as we move forward, what we're proposing, my friends, is that our county government focus on 2 priorities. 1, economic development. We must create jobs. We must create new economic opportunities for our region. And number 2, we have to assure that the vital human services that are offered to people today are available to be expanded, and are available to be fully funded. So in order to assure that we can meet these goals, what we're proposing to do is to form a charter form of government. Charter form of government is long past due in Cuyahoga County. It gives us control of our destiny and takes us out of the wraps of the state. We should not be at the whims of the state as far as how we control the county government. It should be our own self-determination. So having established priorities, having established objectives, what we are proposing then is with this charter form of government is to create a new governmental structure to support the goals and objectives that we have established. To do that, we're proposing a single county executive and an 11-member council. Now, this system provides for accountability, and it also provides for a thorough system of checks and balances that is so sorely missing from our county government today. The executive will be focused and provide accountable leadership. The executive will provide a partner for the mayor of the city of Cleveland and the mayors of each of the suburbs throughout Cuyahoga County. The executive will develop plans, budgets, programs, and present them to the council and present them in an open and a public process. The council will bring the government closer to the people. People today do not know how their county government works. We offer diverse representation with the council, and we offer a system of checks and balances that will approve budgets and will approve key administrative appointments. Issue 6 is the right solution at the right time. I would offer to you that destiny is calling us to take this step at this point in our future. People are demanding change now. 81,000 citizens signed petitions calling for our new county charter. People are tired of studies, and most importantly, they're tired of talk. They want action, and they want action now. They want the wasteful spending of tax dollars stopped. They want a government that can be held accountable, that has a system of checks and balances. They want a government that will focus on economic development and will create meaningful jobs. And they want a government that's charter-based, that can adapt to the changing environment and can adapt in a quick and effective manner. And what they want is they want hope that tomorrow can truly be better for us and that our children can have a brighter future. And that's really why we're all here today. We're here for a better tomorrow for our children. We can't wait. We've waited long enough. We know the issues. Now is the time for action, and now is the time to vote yes on issue 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Zanotti. Because Commissioner Jones used all 8 of his minutes at once, you have 2 more minutes should you choose to use them. If not, we can move on to the questions that I have. Wahaha.
I suppose saying ha-ha would be a really bad thing, wouldn't it, Peter? Okay.
You can defer those 2 minutes to me, too. I had more I wanted to say.
But we know that's not going to happen, so. The one thing I'd say is everyone wants reform, everyone wants a better county. The primary difference between 5 and 6 is 6 is action now, and 5 is saying it's time to study. Let me just tell you a simple story. Ideas start with people who think they might have a better way to do it. Several of us got together a long time ago and started talking about, could we have a better county? Could we have a better future for our children? We thought there's a better way to do this. County government has to have a different purpose. Well, those 2 got together and they grew. They grew to over 100. And over 100 people were involved, and they said, you know what, you're right, this does make some sense. Let's make it work. Let's put it together in a plan. So a plan was developed. All were invited to the table. Many came, many didn't. And those that didn't now want to say that they weren't included to begin with, and it just doesn't work that way. That's not how you fix problems with the serious problems that we face. Well, the next thing you know, the over 100 got the plan together and said, let's take it to the voters. And 81,000 people in 3 weeks said, we like your plan and we think we ought to have a right to vote on it. And everybody ought to vote on it. And on November 3rd, well over 1.3 million registered voters will have the opportunity to vote on it. That's how democracy works, and that's how you bring these plans to the people. So it was open, it was engaged, and it's giving people the opportunity to weigh in. The only other thing that I'd offer is, I want to talk about campaign reform very quickly. Campaign reform, everybody agrees campaign reform needs to happen. The only person that missed anything in this whole process was me when I answered a question in a Cleveland State debate saying we missed it. I got back and was reminded by my members that I must have been asleep at the meeting, that we had lengthy conversations about it. Campaign reform will be addressed by our council and the code of ethics that they're required to create. But campaign reform as an issue is much greater than just county. It needs to be administered on the federal, the state, and the local level if we're going to be serious about fixing it. Issue 5 fails to address one thing, and even in Commissioner's well-stated remarks, it doesn't talk about jobs, it doesn't talk about economic development, it doesn't talk about health and human services. Folks, we can't wait any longer. We need to move forward today. Thank you.